Who in this room doesn't want him to be an Oiler for life? I think at the end of the day, Connor is he has 3 years left on his deal. He's him, Leon, Nuge, Nursey. They're all striving to win. I think
Connor McDavid shocked the NHL world this week. The Edmonton Oilers captain is ready to talk about a new contract. Oilers CEO Jeff Jackson said, "When Connor is ready, we'll get a deal done." For the first time, fans and insiders have clear details about the timing and size of a deal. Talks could start between Team Canada's Olympic camp and Oilers training camp. A record contract is now expected. Connor McDavid has been Edmonton's leader since 2015. Drafted first overall, he became the youngest captain in NHL history at age 19. He has since won 3 Hart Trophies, 4 Ted Lindsay Awards, and 6 Art Ross Trophies. In his first 600 NHL games, he scored more than 900 points. He averages more than 1.5 points per game, one of the best marks ever recorded in league history. His current contract was signed in 2017. The deal was for 8 years and $100 million, carrying an average of $12.5 million per year. At the time, that contract was the richest in NHL history. It expires after the 2025-26 season. On July 1st, 2025, McDavid became eligible to extend. That date started speculation about what his next contract would look like.
And they got a world-class goaltender. They're not just throwing any game at you. They're throwing their game that they've practiced and worked at, and obviously have come up with a recipe that is extremely successful.
This week, Jeff Jackson, the Oilers CEO and McDavid's former agent, gave fans new information. He said on a radio show with Jeff Merrick that once McDavid decides the time is right, a deal will be signed quickly. His exact words were, "When Connor is ready, we'll get a deal done." Jackson explained that this negotiation will be straightforward. He said it would not be like other long or difficult talks in the NHL.
I didn't actually go to Connor and say I'm doing this. I called him and we talked about it. It's a unique opportunity. I don't think that I would have gone anywhere else. I wasn't looking to leave the agent business.
Elliot E. Friedman of Sportsnet added details about timing. He reported that talks could begin as soon as the end of August. Team Canada is holding its Olympic camp from August 26th to August 28th. McDavid is part of that camp. Afterward, Oilers training camp begins in September. Friedman said the Oilers see this time window as a chance to finalize the biggest deal in the NHL. Insiders also reported potential numbers. They suggest McDavid's next contract could pay between $16 million and $17.5 million per year. That would make him the highest paid player in league history. Today, Leon Draisaitl has the top contract at $14 million per year. Austin Matthews earns $13.25 million, and Nathan MacKinnon earns $12.6 million. A McDavid extension in the rumored range would reset the salary scale across the sport. The two Mutts hockey podcasts gave another hint. They said the deal could be done even faster, possibly right after Team Canada's camp. Their reporting suggested a contract of 2 or 4 years. That structure would keep McDavid in Edmonton for the rest of the 2000s and 20s while allowing another negotiation when the salary cap rises again. Some analysts have floated creative contract ideas. One possibility is a 1-year deal worth $14.6 million, followed by a 3-year extension worth $17 million per year beginning in 2027. That would average $16.4 million annually across 4 years. Such a plan would match the NHL's rising salary cap and still make McDavid the highest earner. General manager Stan Bowman confirmed that conversations with McDavid's agent, Judd Moldaver, have been positive. Bowman told reporters, "I've had really good conversations with Judd since the season ended." He explained that the team wants to respect McDavid's pace. Bowman said the Oilers are encouraged by the direction of the talks. On June 19th, McDavid was asked about his future. He said, "There's no rush on anything like that." That comment suggested he would take his time. The team has echoed that view, stating that McDavid will choose the moment. No one inside the organization is pressing him to decide quickly. TSN's Ryan Rishog gave perspective. He said that the lack of progress should not alarm fans. He pointed out that the Oilers had just finished a long playoff run. McDavid and the team needed rest before starting major contract talks. Rishog stressed that both sides are calm. Despite reassurances, some Oilers alumni and fans have voiced concerns. A few believe McDavid may choose a short contract. That would give him flexibility when the salary cap rises above $110 million later this decade. Others argue that a long contract would give the Oilers stability. The length of the deal remains one of the most debated parts of the discussion. Trade rumors have surfaced as well. Several reports linked McDavid to other clubs if talks fail. The Toronto Maple Leafs, New York Rangers, and Los Angeles Kings were named as possible suitors. While there is no sign of McDavid leaving, these rumors highlight the pressure on Edmonton to complete an extension. Salary cap changes are a major factor. The NHL has confirmed that the cap will rise from $95.5 million in 2025-26 to $104 million in 2026-27, and then to $113.5 million in 2027-2027 to 2028. The higher limits will allow teams to spend more. McDavid's camp can use this information to negotiate record-setting numbers. The Oilers also have other large contracts to manage. This summer, Evan Bouchard signed a 4-year deal worth $42 million. Draisaitl's extension is set at $14 million per year. Darnell Nurse has $9.25 million AAV. Adding McDavid's next contract on top will tie much of the cap space to 4 players. Edmonton will face challenges building depth, but management seems committed to keeping its stars. Jackson's confidence has become the story. He said, "This is not like any other negotiation. We'll get it done when Connor is ready." His words stand out because most big contracts involve long and difficult talks. In this case, the Oilers' leadership believes the agreement is simple. McDavid wants to stay, and the team wants to keep him. McDavid's value is clear. In the 2023-24 season, he scored 132 points in 76 games. In the 2024 playoffs, he added 38 points in 19 games. His production continues to set records. Analysts agree that his numbers justify making him the top-paid player in the sport. Team Canada is another angle in this story. McDavid is expected to be the captain at the 2026 Winter Olympics in Milan. Having his contract secured before that event would give him stability. It would also allow him to focus fully on leading the national team. The timing of Canada's camp makes it a logical point for contract discussions. The Oilers' recent playoff history adds urgency. Edmonton reached the Stanley Cup Final in 2024, losing to Florida. In 2025, they returned to the conference final. With the team so close to a championship, management knows they must secure McDavid. Keeping him ensures the Oilers remain a contender. Some analysts say a short-term deal would favor McDavid. By signing for 2 or 3 years, he could negotiate again when the salary cap is over $110 million. Others say a long-term deal is better for the franchise. The decision will reveal McDavid's priorities: flexibility or stability. Social media has followed the story closely. Fans discuss each rumor in detail. Some highlight McDavid's loyalty to Edmonton, while others worry about the chance of him leaving. The speculation reflects how important he is to the team and to the league as a whole. As of today, the timeline is clear. McDavid is eligible to sign. Talks may begin after Team Canada's camp. Numbers between $16 million and $17.5 million per year are on the table. The Oilers' leadership is confident. The hockey world now waits for the official announcement.